The real question that you have to ask, especially once we discuss the story of Nusaybah, is what am I doing with what I already have? Astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah al-azim. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Subhanaka la ilma lana illa ma 'allamtana innaka antal alim al-hakim. Subhanaka la fahma lana illa ma fahamtana innaka antal jawad al-karim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Rabbi yassir wa la tuwassir wa tamam bil khair. Inshallah, today we're going to be continuing our journey into the life of the women Sahabas. We've embarked on this journey, we've discussed many different Sahabas, and today we're going to continue with none other than Nusaybah bint Ka'b, an exceptional woman, an exceptional inspiration for us, someone that we can look up to in all aspects of her life. In Surah Baqarah, ayat 286, it says, "La yukallifullahu nafsan illa wus'aha." Allah does not burden any soul more than what it can bear. Allah does not put any tribulation, any kind of struggle, any kind of hardship that we are not able to get past. Similarly, each person has to make the most of every opportunity presented in their life for the sake of Allah. We have to use whatever is put our way, placed in our life, whether that be something that we view as good or whether that be something we view as bad, for the sake of Allah. We are responsible for what lies within the reach of our own abilities, our own opportunities, our own circumstances. This can be our health. Do you have the ability to get up and walk? Are you able to see? Are you able to hear? Are you able to listen? Whatever it is. Do you have the energy? Do you have the youth? If you're young, if you're energetic, if you're someone who can get up and run for the sake of God, you have to use this. You have to use this. Wealth, whether you are a millionaire, whether you are rich or you just have a few $100s in your bank account, it does not matter. You have to use what you have for the sake of Allah. If you have resources in your life, if you have certain circumstances in your life, if you're put into a certain situation, a certain position in your life, you have to make the most of this. Whether you're a student, whether you're building your career, whether you are a sister, a daughter, a friend, whoever you are, wherever you are, you have to make the most of every single one of these opportunities. We must use these opportunities consciously for the sake of Allah and for service that uplifts humanity. In fact, true servanthood, true ubudiyah, begins by recognizing these blessings, directing them towards goodness. Sometimes you'll notice that these opportunities might not inherently feel as though they're a blessing. They might not feel good, right? Sometimes when you're a student, you have a very hard time. Sometimes being a student is very hard. You might be failing your classes. You might have a hard time learning, whatever it might be. But being a student opens up so many doors for you. It opens up so many opportunities for you to use for the sake of Allah. There are those courageous souls, incredible Sahabas and incredible humans who have devoted their entire life for the sake of Allah, to live for the sake of Allah. And these type of people, such people are able to rise to such spiritual ranks so close to Rasulullah, nearing his sincerity and his devotion, his ikhlas, his yaqeen. And one of the best examples of these type of people, the kind of people who used every opportunity presented in their life for the sake of Allah, was none other than Nusaybah bint Ka'b. Sometimes shaitan will approach you from your left and from your right, telling you things such as, you can give back once you have more money. You can give your time once you build your career. You can give your knowledge once you learn yourself. You don't know anything yet. But these are nothing other than veils over our heart. They're veils over the truth. Even if you have an ounce of knowledge, even if you have just a few dollars, even if you have just a little bit of time, whether that be an hour or two or whatever it is, that's still something that you have to give towards Allah, towards the sake of Allah. Don't neglect what you have. And Nusaybah bint Ka'b didn't. She certainly didn't, which is why she's one of my personal favorite examples and someone that I personally look up to in all aspects. The real question that you have to ask, especially once we discuss the story of Nusaybah, is what am I doing with what I already have? We don't know if we're going to be alive 5 minutes from now, let alone 5 years from now, let alone 50 years from now. You can make these plans in your head. You can say, I'm going to become a successful businessman, get my bachelor's and my master's, and then I'll give my time, and then I'll give my money. But now I have to work on myself. But these can sometimes just be excuses. These can just be shaitan approaching us from our left and our right. So you have to ask yourself, what am I doing right now with what I have right now? We have to plant the seeds that Allah has placed in our hands so that we can see the fruits in, inshallah, the akhirah, in the hereafter, in Jannat. One of the best examples of making the most of what you have in your life is seen through Nusaybah bint Ka'b. She's one of those who embraced Islam before meeting Rasulullah and before he even came to Medina. In fact, during the allegiance of Al-Aqaba, there was around 70-some Muslims who went there to promise to Rasulullah, to vow to him that they were going to protect him and stand with him through everything, fight with him for the sake of Islam. And amongst those 70-some Muslims, there was also 2 to 3 women. And one of these honorable women was Nusaybah bint Ka'b. And I want you all to imagine this sight. There are 70 Muslims, somewhere around 70, maybe 71, 72, scholars say different things. There are all these strong men, strong Sahabas who are pledging their allegiance to Rasulullah. They are squeezing his hand, promising to fight for him, promising to stand by him. And there is this one woman who had insisted to go on this journey to pledge her allegiance to Rasulullah herself. Now, one thing about the allegiance is that you can do it on behalf of your family members, or you can do it on behalf of someone close to you. And so Nusaybah, she did not have to go herself. She did not have to embark on this journey, which, mind you, I'd like to open up a parenthesis here and add the fact that it's not an easy journey. This allegiance is done on the outskirts of Mecca, so she had to walk not a short distance to get there, to pledge her allegiance to Rasulullah. But she had insisted so much to go and see Rasulullah herself and go and promise to him that she was going to do whatever she had, use whatever means she had to defend this religion, to fight for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, the most prominent parts of Nusaybah's life is found in Uhud, the Battle of Uhud. Now, I don't want you guys to think that this is the only part of her life that was prominent, or this is the only battle that she fought in. Rather, Nusaybah continued to fight in most of the battles after Uhud even. And she has so many parts of her life that were incredibly exceptional. But her role in Uhud is unlike anything else. And it clearly shows what it means to make the most of what you have in life, even if it's not the most, or even if you feel as though it's not the most. Nusaybah's role in the Battle of Uhud originally was to go as a medic. It was to go as a nurse of some sorts. She went with her medical supplies to help the wounded Muslims. And she didn't go alone. She went with honorable women Sahabas like Aisha radiallahu anha, Fatma radiallahu anha, Salama radiallahu anha, Safiya bint Abdul Muttalib radiallahu anhum, Sulaim radiallahu anha. Right? All of these honorable women, they all went to protect and to help and tend to all of these Muslims who were fighting at the Battle of Uhud. Now, to give a little context about the Battle of Uhud, the Muslims had started with somewhere around 1,000 fighters. But before the battle had even begun, 300 Muslims had fled the scene. They left before they even began, leaving the Muslims with somewhere around 700 fighters. Now, on the opposing side, the Mushrikeen had around 3,000 people fighting. You can understand how this is a very unequal battle, right? The Muslims are greatly outnumbered. There are so many more Mushrikeen, people on the opposing side that are about to fight. The Muslims are already at a disadvantage. While the Mushrikeen are 3,000, the Muslims are only 700. And there is a very unique situation that happened at the Battle of Uhud. I'm going to try my best to visualize this and take you guys back in time all the way to this battle. But Uhud is a very big space, right? There are mountains all around Uhud. And there is one in particular, this is less like a mountain, more of a hill, Jabal al-Ruma. This is the hill that Rasulullah had placed 50 archers on. This hill gives the Muslims a point of vantage. They are able to see all of Uhud, and they have an advantage here by being up on this hill. And Rasulullah at the beginning of the battle says, do not leave your position whether you think we lose or whether you think we win. Do not leave until I give you clear instructions or clear ruling to leave your position. This was what he said at the beginning of the battle. Very clear. Set in stone. Don't move unless you are told so. Now, the Battle of Uhud is a very unique one because the Muslims, although they were outnumbered, had initially started off very well. In fact, there was a moment in the battle in which it seemed like the Muslims were winning. It seemed as though they had defeated the mushrikeen. And during this defeat, there were so many spoils of the war, right? The mushrikeen had brought in so many goods. And in this moment in which the Muslims felt as though they won, they saw all of the spoils of the war. And so despite the ruling, despite the instructions that Rasulullah had given the archers on the hill, they unfortunately left their position. They went down the hill to collect these spoils and rejoice in the win. However, this was not the end of the battle. Far from it, in fact. And when the archers left this hill, this left a very open spot for an ambush. And the ambush that happened was led by Khalid ibn Walid's cavalry. They noticed that there was a unique opportunity to be able to ambush the Muslims. And so what they do is they go behind the hill, and they're able to sandwich the Muslims. I want you to imagine this scene. The Muslims are sandwiched. There are the mushrikeen in front of them, the mushrikeen behind them. They thought they were winning. They were so excited, and all of a sudden, they lose. After this point in which they are ambushed, a rumor begins to spread. None other than Musab ibn Umayr is martyred. And it's known that Musab ibn Umayr resembled the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ very much so. He looked very similar to him, and so when he was martyred, a rumor began amongst Uhud that Rasulullah has been killed. Muhammad has been killed. What happens now? There's already a very little amount of Muslims. They're already outnumbered. They're being ambushed. They're sandwiched. The mushrikeen are defeating them slowly but surely. And now there is a rumor spreading that Muhammad has died. There's panic. There's confusion. The Muslims are fleeing. They're dropping their swords. They're dropping their shields. And they're running away. People are leaving Uhud. But there's one brave woman who, as everyone was running away from Uhud, she was running towards Uhud. SubhanAllah. In this moment, while all this chaos is unfolding, while everyone is leaving the battlefield, Rasulullah finds himself alone. Rasulullah finds himself alone. He's being attacked from his left, he's being attacked from his right, and there is almost no one around him. A very small group of people still surround him, still are fighting with him, still protecting him. And Nusaybah sees this scene. And immediately, without even wondering if she has a skill set, if she has what it takes, she drops the medical supplies, she grabs a sword, she grabs a shield, and she runs onto the field. SubhanAllah. She fights alongside her sons and her husband, and she immediately runs towards Rasulullah. So what is it that causes her to say, I'm going in instead of running away? What is it that causes her to say, I'm gonna fight when no one else is fighting? Why doesn't she say something like, I don't have the skill set? Why doesn't she wait for someone else to go? Why doesn't she make up any kind of excuse? Because she understands the importance of what? Making the most of what you have. Making the most of what you have. As Uhud is unfolding, Nusaybah continues to fight alongside Rasulullah. She's protecting him from all the mushrikeen. She's protecting him from the blows coming from the left and the right. And during this moment, Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, he says, "O Umara, could Habashi endure and bear like you did?" Habashi being Bilal radiallahu anhum, the one who endured the most, the one who endured the torture and the persecution of the Quraysh, the one who had to go through all the suffering and all the hardship. Rasulullah embraces Nusaybah. He shows his love and his gratitude for her by saying, could Habashi endure like you do? Could he bear what you bear? At some point in the battle, Nusaybah gets eventually hit and she gets wounded. And in this moment, as I mentioned previously, she's fighting with her sons, she's fighting with her husband. Prophet Muhammad turns to her sons and says, "O son of Umara, go help your mother. Go tend to her." And then after this happens, he gives glad tidings. He says, "May Allah's barakah be upon you. The station of your mother is greater than the station of so-and-so." and the station of your father is greater than the station of so-and-so, and your station is better than the station of others. Meaning what? That the station, the rank of Nusaybah is unlike anyone. She is truly an exceptional Sahaba, unlike any other woman we've seen in the history of Islam. And when Nusaybah hears this blessed dua, when she hears this blessed word, she asks Rasulullah, "O Rasulullah, make dua for me so that I may be your neighbor in Jannah." And I want us to pause and think about this. In this moment, when she could have asked for anything, she says, "Make dua for me so that I can be your companion, so I can be your neighbor in Jannah." And so, in the chaos of this battle, as everything is still unfolding, Prophet Muhammad takes a moment, he raises his hands, and he says, "O Allah, make these people my neighbors and my companions in Jannah." And when Nusaybah hears these words, that's it for her. That's the peak. That's happiness. She says, "This is enough. Whatever adversity comes to me now, it's easy." Re-emphasizing the ayah that we started off with. لا يكلف الله نفسا إلا وسعها. Allah does not burden the soul more than it can bear. And she recognizes this. Whatever comes to her now, she can bear it. Whatever comes to her now, she can take it. Because she has reached that peak of her life. Rasulullah has made dua that she is his companion and neighbor in Jannah. SubhanAllah. What an honorable moment. After the battle, he tells the ummah about how incredible Nusaybah was and about her heroism. He says, "On the day of Uhud, whenever I turned right, whenever I turned left, Umara was there fighting." And I want you to imagine, this is a fight, this is a battle in which there was no one left. Very few people, very few Sahabas were still there fighting amongst Rasulullah. But he says that no matter where he looked, she was there fighting. And after the battle, it was determined that Nusaybah was wounded in around 12 different places on her body. And these aren't simple wounds, they're rather severe. And the most severe was the one on her shoulder, right? SubhanAllah, she goes through a lot. She had to endure a lot. But she understood the key, that is, making the most of what she had. She didn't have to run towards that battlefield. She didn't have to continue. She didn't have to abandon her role as a medic and run into the field, but she saw an opportunity and she saw that she had the means, and so she took it and she ran with it. SubhanAllah. And with that, Rasulullah made this beautiful dua for her, for them to be companions, for them to be neighbors in the hereafter. May Allah allow us to be amongst the companions, amongst the neighbors of Rasulullah. May He allow us to make the most of our opportunities, make the most of our means. May He allow us to make the most of our time, our youth, our energy, every single unique opportunity presented in our life. And inshallah ta'ala, we can always take something away from the life of Nusaybah. Take a moment to learn more about her, to try and implement the incredible characteristics that we see in her life into our own, inshallah.